On today's One Thing Wednesday, we're going to look at using alt text on social media, which is a way of defining images, which is good for accessibility, and people using screen readers can tell what a picture is, or it's also good on websites for SEO. So I imagine with social media algorithms, it would also help it to determine what your picture is about and whether it is relevant to your target audience. We're going to start by looking at Twitter. After the accessibility changes that they made last week, Jess posted on Monday about the changes and what was a benefit and what wasn't a benefit. Let's have a look. So we're going to update this picture of M. Bison that I drew. He's a guy from Street Fighter 2, if you didn't know that game. And let's start with Twitter, actually, yes. Okay, so when you go on Twitter, you can see this tiny little sort of grayed out add description. Now that is actually where you're going to add your alt text. M. Bison from Street Fighter by Dan Rice. Okay, and we'll copy that so we can use it again. Okay, so then all you do is you hit save, and there you go. That is reasonably simple, but it's kind of giving you a few extra stages, and especially for people with accessibility issues and visibility issues, this is going to not necessarily be the easiest way. It doesn't exactly encourage you to use it. So that does raise the question, does anyone else do it better? Now, Instagram is predominantly a picture-based medium, so obviously you'd expect it to do a lot better with this. And they do kind of bake it into the process a lot more than Twitter does. Here's the options, things like location, accessibility, and all that. Accessibility is purely an alt text, but frankly, that's all we need for the accessibility on this at the moment. So that then allows us to edit it as part of the process. Because they do it well on Instagram, you'd expect them to do a similar sort of performance on Facebook, but it's not quite the case. I had to actually fiddle around with this a bit to figure it out. And then it turns out it's actually quite simple. You click edit, and then it gives you the alternate text position. Then you add it in as your custom text and save. The surprising result actually was that possibly my favorite one is LinkedIn. As they're not predominantly a photograph-based platform and then really not giving it a big push, it was nice. It was a nice surprise to know that they'd actually catered for accessibility here. So they've got this nice big button in the top corner. The contrast isn't great, but at least it's there and it's nice and big, and so that it looks like they've tried to make a decent effort on making this work for people and making it front and center so that people value it and make it important. And as soon as you give people that nudge, then they're a lot more likely to use it. So in terms of how Twitter performs in comparison to the others, it's much the same. There are flaws to all of the systems, but Instagram and LinkedIn are leading the way in terms of how they use alt text in social media platforms.